Hello and good evening. Tonight is Tuesday, March 25th. Welcome to a meeting of Darien's Architectural Review Board. My name is Elizabeth Geiger. I am chairman of the board. With us tonight, we have Anya Janis, our vice chair. We have David Humphrey, and we have Alex Lopatensky. We also have Kate Polselli taking notes, Rebecca Morrison, Sean Brown, Cheryl Green, and for his final meeting in 25 years, Mr. Sean Brown.
Oh, and Dave Riley.
Dave Riley.
And Dave Riley, sorry. Dave Riley and Sean, sorry, jumped in.
Stealing my thunder.
All right, we have 4 items on the agenda for new business. The first is AirB 10 2025. It is for Sharky's at 350 Heights Road that are proposing new signage. Hi. You know,
Here?
yeah, maybe just hang there. It's odd, but this is good. It's not your first rodeo.
No. Can you bring up my plans for my?
Sure. So, a little disclaimer, this is not the usual room, and the mouse is capricious.
Okay.
It's like on steroid, it moves extremely fast, so I have to kind of take it really easy when I move on the screen. So, design drawings,
Yeah.
exterior signage, you like that one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you introduce yourself while he's pulling that up?
Yes, I'm Ashley Andrews, and I am representing Sharky's Cuts for Kids. We are proposing stud-mounted dimensional letters, and this is what all of their signs look like on all of their shops.
So it's not the first page, that's just the
That's the
splash page?
Yeah,
and
it's
then
right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. And non-illuminated, because the site plan said illuminated.
Yeah, it
just to be clear.
It was
Yeah.
going to be, but it's not. It's just dimensional letters, no illumination.
Okay.
Is there any reason why you put the logo to the left of the words and not how it is on that first page?
That's how all of their signs are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can hardly read the shark.
Oh, like the shark. I think Sharky's doesn't fit. That didn't fit above it.
No, that's how all of their signs are on all their shops is like that, straight
One
across.
extended
Straight across,
Yep.
okay.
And that's the name of the business is Sharky's Cuts for Kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Good. So it looks like a total maximum height of 14 inches.
Yes.
Okay.
It's colorful.
God, how do I do this? This is crazy though, 'cause I can't.
Can you close out? Do you have it?
On the right side, there's a little thing to go down a little bit here.
What?
Hervik, if you pull the,
That thing,
Yeah, to the
I'm
left.
trying to like get a little like extra space here.
Get rid of the thumbnail.
Why is it doing that? Anyway, okay, sorry. Limitations. All right. Close it.
Okay. Anything? Any comments?
So they'll be mounted on the siding, is that correct? So just,
Everybody, can you roll down a little bit on the right side so we can see over the building? It's centered over the window set.
is that, yeah, because that's like a hardy shingle kind of siding.
but
Okay.
it's pin mounted.
It's pin mounted,
So
so
it's
it's gonna be
the-
proud of that.
right.
Okay, so it's not gonna get
38
okay,
penetration, so that's a lot of little,
Holes.
potential holes.
lots of caulking.
Okay, I think it does look better lower. I was wondering if on that band, yeah.
Where's the one next door?
I think it would stand out even more.
It would stand out more on the band, but it seems like it would be too high, and it's just so colorful.
If it was
It
a-
just
Yeah.
the dark background almost seems to lend itself to it.
Yeah, I
right,
agree.
I agree.
It's better
Other
there.
signs in that,
I don't know,
section.
actually. I don't know we don't know if there are signs on these large fascias
No, I don't think.
anywhere else.
I think-
No, probably not, right?
I think it's good as gold.
Yeah, I'm looking with it.
And there's nothing over the door. It's the entrance itself. Is there any signage?
This was all they gave me. As far as I know, that's it.
So no blade sign or, where is the door, by the way? Just looking at that
I
facade.
think it's on the side where you go around the left there.
You gotta go around the side. So it seems like that's where Blade side would want to go. Like,
That's, that curve there is the beginning of that Fort Crochet
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
right.
The new bigger house. Right?
Do we know if we have building numbers on this? I don't remember.
I have no idea, yeah.
Oh, the monument
Do you know if
side's-
they're
the
getting us-
monument side's coming up. Would that have that?
Let's make sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And Liz, if they're building numbers, it should be on the door, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so- But what, are we doing suite numbers on these?
I don't know. Well, I can bring this up to the Vacaras in terms of kind of coordination for numbers, because I haven't seen, I'm sure they have determined which address is what, but I haven't seen anything about the doors or,
But you're right, that'd be nice to have a standard kind of numbering format, how they treat every door for any,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, suite A, B, C, D,
Yeah,
suite
right,
100,
right.
101, 102, whatever.
Right.
that's a great,
They had a key, like if you go to the bottom, the last sheet, the site plan sheet,
yeah.
didn't there have a, yeah, they have a tenant key there.
Location.
Oh,
So I
right.
don't know if that's what their intent is as far as the suite numbers. Would make sense.
There's a potential for a French bakery in this. There is.
Yeah, there you
Really?
go.
Yeah. it's being
So
talked about.
Ashley, I will put in just my, it's a favorable report, sounds like.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put one note in there, but I'm gonna copy the Vaqueros on my letter to you to say that for any, that the address and any door demarcation needs to be consistent throughout the development.
Okay,
So hopefully you can work with the Vaqueros for that.
okay.
But they're gonna have to get some sort of approval from the post office too.
Yeah, you're right, you're probably right.
There's a whole process where they give us like a formal thing about addresses and you know, door number, not door numbers, but just an official address, because it has to be recorded with the tax assessor. So I don't think, I'm not sure they've gone through this. Jeremy would know, but you know, goes through him first and then we record them.
Okay, that's great. Ashley.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for your time.
Have a good night.
All right, I'll put a note in there for Vaqueros, and I think unfortunately, they're not here tonight, it looks like, which is a bummer. But they should be coming, right? The Vaqueros?
Oh, yeah, John's coming.
Great, okay, good. Moving on, ARB number 11, 2025, this is 3 Parklands Drive, it's an apartment facade. Welcome, guys. Yeah, to tell you about, we don't have our normal, you have to work your arm muscles.
We'll kind of hold it.
Yeah, great.
I'll hold while you present.
So introduce yourselves and what your relationship is to the project.
My name is Ron Boyd, and my firm is Design Development Architects, and we're the architects for the project for Bell Point.
Ron, what's your last name?
Hoina. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
And I'm Jim Carnicelli, I represent the owner, and I'm also the developer and builder.
Great.
So we're here this evening, obviously, for 3 Parklands. I don't know if you can make any of those rendering there. Those are the ones that we...
Herman, we gotta figure out how to get those,
Could I pick the,
yeah,
Something?
that one.
that- or pick the other?
Go down.
No.
Yours.
There's no way to move the, minimize that left side?
This is the top 3 bars on the left. Top left.
Are they numbered?
That's not.
Menu on the top left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Click that.
There you go.
Nice.
Little tech support. So the project is plus or minus 68,000 square feet of new multifamily residential. It's 57 units, 3 stories, spread out evenly over parking, which is primarily underground. Obviously, the entrance isn't. The building itself is clean, simple lines was the game plan, the direction from ownership, and it kind of falls in line with the way we like to look at projects. If the building's a rectangle, we can be a little more ornamental. If the building's a shape that's like you see on the top right, We try to be clean and simple so it's not too busy to the eye. Essentially, we've got four materials, really. We've got a field panel, which is that cork color on the left. We've got an accent panel, which is the frames and the pop-outs, the window pop-outs. And doors and windows are all black. It'll be a UPVC. We are still doing UPVC. Yes. Yeah, it'll be UPVC windows. They're excellent from a U-value standpoint. They're operable and they're really large for the units. One of the directions from ownership was big windows, lots of natural light, lots of ventilation. So the windows are 9 by 10, 9 by 9, which is large for any of these units. The materials and the colors are, again, natural in an accent. The natural colors that you see is the cork, which is this product here. Yep. And then below is the field color, the pop-outs, which is a hardy plank. We try to use materials that are friendly to the environment. So like Hardy Plank has a recycling program where any scraps from the job site, they will take and bring them back and recycle them and put them back into new product automatically.
Is that written into the spec so the builder knows to do that?
Yeah, when we do construction documents, it'll be in the specifications. And it's one of the things that they...
It's a tough thing, of course.
It can be,
Yeah.
it can be, but Hardy makes it easier than some other manufacturers. The metal panel system, which is that color all on the left material one, it's a steel panel that's primarily recycled. It's really, you can't see the rigidity of it, but it's a really nice rain screen panel. It's got blind fasteners, so you don't have to see any of it, and it's clean and simple lines. It looks really nice when it's installed.
That's material one? I'm sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
material one.
Okay, so the wood grain, it's called cork.
Yeah.
That's the color.
And I was a little confused by, so that's the scale, it's like a 5-inch plank, or, because the renderings made it look, I think, a little larger.
It's a 6-inch panel.
So 6, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so close to what
It's
we
6,
see.
yeah. Yes, it's just about this, but the sample's a little different.
Okay.
Yeah. The scale of it, I think, looks nice for the overall scale of the
Well,
building.
that's the
The building's
thing.
35
It
feet
does
tall.
look bigger.
It looks bigger, it looks, if I were to take, I guess you said the windows are 8 foot, is that correct?
No.
The windows are 8 feet high.
The windows are 8 foot tall.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry,
if we
8 by
count-
9.
Yeah, so if we count the number of horizontal lines,
Yeah, it could have been drawn at 8. It's a
Yeah.
6-inch panel scale-wise. When you look at the overall scale of the building, I think the
Okay.
smaller panels look more natural than the larger panels. Once you panelize something, in my mind, that gets large, tall vertically, it doesn't look like the wood product anymore. It looks
Yeah.
like it's trying to be something else, which would be blank metal.
But the horizontal joinery would really be
6.
it would be tighter.
half the size of what that
I'd
is.
say so, yeah.
Please let me check.
Yeah, we'll confirm that and get back to you guys on it. The building's 35 feet tall, which is within zoning. And I believe that's the story on the exterior of the building.
Question on the Hardy panels,
Yep.
so they're shown as being larger pieces, are those blind fastened or are those face mounted?
We're
Would you
blind.
see that- They're blind?
We're blind fastening everything.
Okay. So for the Hardy panels, what's the system on that? I'd just gone through doing fiber cement panels on a project where they were adhered, an adhered system. Is that what
No.
would be used here, or is it a clip system?
What's that?
or-
So these extrusions actually hold the panels in place?
Oh, okay, so
really
there
it's
will be
range
like a
screen
trim
system.
piece.
It's a trim, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So these extrusions are the actual extrusions that are on there. They're going to be factory finished? But
These are
that-
not.
That's what holds the,
If you just look at this, these are not factory finished, but they will be on the real job. It was just easier.
But just for the size of panel though, would just a perimeter piece be enough to hold it from
Yeah,
wind load and?
we'll have shop
whatnot?
drawings that come back from them that'll give us all the
Okay.
specifications, so we don't get oil canning or
Yeah.
any movement. I think that's all I can tell you about the exterior.
On the fascia is a metal, the top cornice, I should say.
The fascia is actually a pre-made polyurethane extrusion. So it's completely different than the rest of them in terms of material. But it's fastened to the building, it's rain screen again, and it's counter flashed over the top so that you're talking about the top, the corners?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that the roof ties out to it.
There is no access to the roof, therefore there is no way to have any sort of extra guardrails or anything that will not appear on this building, right?
No.
It's kind of
So
a-
imagine just
So
mechanical.
the parapet
corners.
is.
The parapet is the parapet.
So,
If there's any, there's nothing within 10 feet of the perimeter, so there's no requirement for us to put a railing on the building, and there's no intention for us to put a railing on the building. If somebody does have to go up on the roof and work on something, there are fold-down protection bars that's lays flat on the ground, they tilt them up, they do their work, they tilt them back down. So you won't see them unless you see a guy up there actually working.
Because right now between your ceiling and your parapet is like 2.5 feet.
It's literally all insulation.
Okay, so it's pretty flat.
Yeah, it's a very low parapet.
Okay, all right, good. Just want to make sure that's clear.
I do appreciate the limited palette of materials. It's not trying to get too busy.
Yeah. We try to do that whenever the shape is busy. We try to keep the palette simple and not confusing.
Oh, ready to go to that. Where do you hide that one? Is it at the very end? or-
Yeah, keep going down,
Down.
you'll see this one. Yeah, this is the back of the building.
So the parking's on that lower level?
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
the parking is only exposed on that one side. The rest of it's tucked under.
Should go on one more.
There you go.
That's this
Okay, okay.
this slide now. So that's the.
And
back-
then the
that's
entry
back of the building.
to Selleck Woods is where those cars are parked? is
That's
that
correct.
Yeah.
Those spaces are reserved for the public parking.
Yep.
This color is almost
But Dave, Ron, you have a good point, though. Those panels, wood panels, will be like double, triple the amount.
Double, but it's in the elevation.
Okay.
It's correct in the elevation.
Yeah, the elevation looks correct.
Yeah.
So I think the rendering
Yes,
is incorrect.
yes, the renderings and great, yes.
it's more pronounced there because of I think the joinery is more pronounced in the elevation. It's more hidden.
Yeah. I like
I'm sorry,
this.
on the site plan, there was kind of a park area on the opposite side of this, is that correct? Like where it kind of wraps around it somewhere?
Yeah, if you go back to the overall site plan.
Yeah, I like this design for this location. I think it fits well. Neighbors should like it, and it allows Selleck's Wood and Dunlop to kind of shine, so I'm a fan.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, that one.
Run all around.
Okay, that one.
And north is this way?
Correct.
You know,
North is right.
left to right?
Yep.
Did you consider like a third color material at all in one or two spots? I really like the overall design. I like kind of like the ends of the building.
We had a couple of different palettes that we worked with. We sort of boiled it down to as simple as we could, meaning just these two and the storefronts. But we had a version of it where there was an accent piece at the far end, but it just seemed to be too important, more important than it should be in the overall sort of campus. If that makes any sense. It makes sense to me, but
I like this.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't. Yep. Same. Keep as is. Is the rock staying?
the rock
Yeah.
stay.
We don't know yet. We hope
The
so.
rock's gotta stay.
We hope so. We hope.
I personally like it.
Good solution.
What about exterior lighting? What sort of fixtures are being mounted onto the building?
So all the lighting will be shielded that goes on the campus. The building the lighting building will be minimal. Entrances, over the exit doors, over the garage entrance. There are some low bollards that are planned around the entrance walkways so that people can see where they're going at night. It's a very low, the intent is to have a very low foot candle level here.
Okay. I think typically we look for the
No bleed.
specs on the lights, right? So that might be a...
I was just gonna say, you guys need to submit a lighting plan for us, landscape
So
plan.
since we inherited the building and approvals, there is a landscape and lighting plan that you guys have reviewed. We'll most likely be back in front of you to revise that.
Okay.
The building shape has not changed, so
Yep.
substantially it's pretty much the same. So it's our intent right now to follow that plan and use the lights that are there, but we may be back before you because it doesn't really...
Yeah, the aesthetics, I think, that
Aesthetics
that
are-
was
Yeah.
a very
Yeah.
different
They don't match.
facade.
Yes, yes. So those lights will be simplified, the way I would describe it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two more
This was
questions about the
previous.
Oh, yeah.
Two more
Such
questions
a-
about the
Yeah,
roof.
not, way better.
Two more questions about the roof.
Way better.
AC units and cooling towers, as well as any elevator access to the roof?
So
Because then that creates a thing that we may see,
there will be 2 elevator overrides.
Two
and there
elevator
will be heat pumps on the roof.
plus heat pump.
No chilling or cooling towers. They'll all, each individual unit will have its own
You
heat
don't
pump.
think with that low parapet, anything will be visible?
It depends on where you're standing. There's a lot of topography around the site. If you're standing in front of the
In the
building,
next building?
you will not. If you're at the next building and in one of the top floors,
Then you
you'll see.
Right, so you guys are thinking of any sort of screening, like at Equinox or some other, type of metal slats or?
I tend to shy away from screening because I think it draws more attention than just having some simple units on the roof. They'll be in the middle of the roof, so they're going to be 30 feet off the edge, roughly, plus or minus, and they're fairly low.
Right.
To put an element on top to screen them, I think draws more attention to them than not.
So I just want to bring.
It's just a person that's just.
I agree with you.
Any consideration for solar on the roof? I mean, you got a lot of roofscape up there. It could, you could pre-wire for it or something. I mean, that's...
So the answer to that is we have a HERS rating consultant who's just on board now that we're in development of our CDs. So we're passing over to him all of the MEPs and the mechanical electricals.
Okay.
But he has actually brought that up to possibly bring some solar back into the Langmore panel.
Yeah, I don't think you'd hit net zero, but it's,
It's better than nothing.
depending on how high performing the, envelope
Yeah.
is.
So it's definitely something we're going to be looking at. It may be a
The solar, I don't think that, you'd have to look at the regulations, but roof-mounted solar, I believe, can be exempt from...
It usually is when we put it up, and we've been using very low angle
Yeah.
solar. And
Yeah.
it's providing a lot of free power.
Yeah, it can be set on
Doesn't
the
power the
ballast
building.
mounted, you
Yeah.
got a lot of options there.
So the only
Yeah, ballast to me is better than penetrating the roof because I don't have 300 holes in it.
Exactly.
The only other consideration we have here is that we're bound also by a stipulation from the previous approval. So we have a couple of things going on. But I was up
Complicated.
for solar on the roof.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, favorable report. Thank you. That's great. Buildings never get favorable reports first time through. This is amazing for you guys. But you guys do need to come back with any lighting, landscape, and signage. Needs to come back through.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
Really
It's hard
nice.
to withdraw.
Thank you.
Those things cannot be changed because there's.
But we talked about that, but if there is any change in materials or anything that's in what was already approved for the project, it needs to come through. And as part of the application though, can you guys resubmit what you're doing? That should be part of this package. If that is the case, put what is approved that you're using, put it in this file so we can see it's all one unit.
Absolutely.
That's what we said. If we do intend on changing it, well, obviously we have to get the right approvals and then come back.
Great, okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got it.
Yep. You're on. I'm a one-armed guy.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have ARB number 12, 2025. This is for 346 Heights Road, which I believe is Darien Crossing. Heights Crossing. Thank you. Gotta keep track of them all.
Hi, I'm Kevin with Commonwealth Signs. Tonight we're proposing a new monument sign for Heights Crossing. And I think this is the first time I ever brought a picture with me.
And Kevin, with you, John,
John Vaccaro,
okay, owner,
local developer, owner,
awesome.
philosopher. Okay. Let's see if we're good.
Oh, it's definitely gonna need one.
All right, so pretty straightforward. Single-sided light box. The only thing that's going to be illuminated are the letters up top, the Heights Crossing. Everything else is just going to be interchangeable nameplates for tenants coming in and out.
So no ground-mounted lighting, then strictly, that's it, just Heights Crossing is illuminated.
Yeah, yeah.
So if it's single-sided, where is, it looks like it's in the middle of a,
So Palmer's is right there on the right side, right there where the arrow is.
oh,
And you're looking from Heights Road right there.
okay.
Oh.
Do you have a site plan that shows this, Ken?
Yeah, I think.
Is it,
And there's some spots.
no, there's no, I was
It's
curious
one of
where
the
it
other.
sits.
It's right.
Oh, it's right there, okay.
Right, so this is
I
Heights.
was wondering, the
Road.
tenant with the window behind there is going to be looking in the back of this, right?
Say, pretty similar. They have to slide over.
Yeah, wait, yeah, now that you're looking at it.
I'm sorry?
You get in the narrative? Is this
Go to the very, I submitted it later today, so go right to the.
There it is.
Yeah, sorry, yep.
Not really. Have you been by the building?
So that's the setbacks right there.
That's the material that's in front of it.
There we go.
There
Is that what we're looking for?
Correct, right there. You had it already, yep.
It's more it's clear.
Yeah.
So it's right here.
Yeah, we didn't want to go perpendicular just because of traffic. The setback, I don't think was going to be big enough for people pulling in and out of the driveway, so we figured it would serve its purpose, just putting it single-sided.
But again, that facade, I don't know if it's competing against the facade then, or,
Yeah.
you know, as far as how it's placed, right?
It's going to be a sidewalk, John, in front of it.
Yeah, I guess that site plan doesn't show enough of the other components going on. I mean, there, it looks like it's much further away.
So there'll be a sidewalk from the front of the sign running along Heights Road, which is 15 feet.
So it will be set into the sidewalk? Sorry, I'm not following.
I'm curious, the sidewalk will just run along the curb, there'll be a curb along the front of the...
Yeah, there's a loading zone that, you see where it indents on Heights Road? You have to move the picture. See that indentation?
Yeah.
There's definitely a loading zone. So what happens is Heights Road's getting widened a little bit right there, so you can put a couple car parks there. And then there's a second entry into the complex, a little towards Hollow Tree, not all the way to Hollow Tree. And then there's another loading zone over there as well. Literally in about, I'd say, 2 weeks, you'll see how that all fills in. So they've already, if you go there now, you can actually see how it's going to cut out, and you can see where the snap lines are, where they're going to have to fill in and then put the new road in. Some of the curbing is in though. It's easier to see as you get further west towards Hollow Tree because a lot of the curb is in already.
And behind the sign will be grass,
Yeah, it's mostly
grass and flowers.
And I forgot all of the
Shrubbery.
plant, the plantings.
And you preferred putting the sign like that versus perpendicular to that direction with double-sided information?
I don't think well, this is I thought you said it's 10 feet.
What is the setback? If you go back to, we're curious because, you know, typically when you're pulling out of a driveway,
I don't have the zone, typically the zones have very little setback for, I mean, there's not a whole lot of setback for this zone. It's like 0 or 4 feet or something like that.
Well,
I think the question,
candidly, position of the sign covering that window, it needs to move a little bit to the west so that it basically doesn't cover both windows of both retailers. There'll be 3 retailers in that building.
If you rotated the sign just to play around with it, you wouldn't have that problem as much. You'd have better windows, you'd have more access. I don't know, you're thinking of...
Even like you're saying, even if you sort of cock it, you know, as you're pulling in.
Like a 10 degrees or? 5
Yeah, I
degrees?
mean, in other words, yeah, you angle it. You can certainly see it as you're pulling in. If you look at Darien Commons, when you're pulling in, there's lettering across that curved area.
Yep.
Very nice. When you're pulling in, you can see that lettering. But
Well, what was your thinking, why parallel with the road versus perpendicular?
I think we were thinking that with the two-way traffic, it's easier to see. But what you're really trying to do is invite people to come in. So I keep
I feel like
thinking you
if
may
you're
want to turn
driving
it a
and
little
it's
bit anyway.
perpendicular, then you see what's there and you can turn it.
You almost maybe want to put it right here, right?
Well, I also think if I'm driving past.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, like
Makes sense,
offset.
because,
right.
you know, again, like
And
you said
two-sided.
earlier, the windows.
Two-sided.
Yeah,
If that was my store, I wouldn't be very happy, but
yeah.
if we're okay with the setback, we'd be happy to do.
So let's go back to the sign, so what would that setback
Yeah,
be?
then you'd have
But
to do it on both sides.
Yeah, double-sided sign, and
You
then
just need to be careful of the driver clearance for visibility.
That's all I
Right,
was
so
worried
that's,
about.
that's
I
the,
That's why
mean,
we
beyond the
proposed-
setbacks.
I mean, yeah, that's the visibility we were worried about. That's why we didn't go perpendicular. But,
well, we'll take a look at it.
yeah, from the, like, again, you got 15 feet there.
Might be worth a mock-up. I mean, just getting
Yeah.
a sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
You know, staking it in one
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
and staking it.
If it was set back a little bit more. Yes,
I
better,
also-
because I just don't like the idea of covering anybody's retail.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
We've gone through this with shrubs on all the buildings.
I also, in my personal opinion, having it at an angle, right now, I feel like the base, and this is what I was just saying, the base is competing with the base, or like it's drawing too much attention because it's like so spot on to the building in back of it, that if you actually angled it, it would look more appropriate, like as far as like the two not, like I understand the idea was to maybe like, you know, have them correlate, but to me, it's just drawing more attention.
You would rather have an angle.
I think so.
Angle
That's
or
right.
Perpendicular.
And not straight on.
Just not parallel with it.
Not parallel with
Parallel.
it. I don't care what it is, like right now, the two
Yeah, I don't like the
parallel
parallels.
is bringing a lot of attention to that base. Or if it was
Yeah.
like on some sort of a different plane at least, that base wouldn't be drawing as much attention. Like right now, my eye is leading toward the base because it's matching with the building versus if it was at like a different angle, then the two wouldn't, we'd be more drawn towards the tenants versus the actual.
Actual sign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the base,
I
the
agree.
base of the sign.
Either Cocket or
Yeah, some.
perpendicular, I think.
And then you understand why there's a relationship, but right
Yeah.
now, it's just like you're drawn to the base and not to the tenant.
And are you married to that location of the sign being there?
Well,
or
that's
is
the
it-
entrance, so it really,
Well, it's the corner. If you look at the site plan, you have, I mean, you don't have the full site plan here, but we were looking at a different application that shows the full site that,
We're looking at the Sharkey's haircut.
yeah.
Site plan.
So there's,
Because that drive is too narrow, we can't put it in there either.
but what if you took
Over to the
advantage of the monumental
it's one way
stair?
out.
What if you took advantage of the monumental stair that you have sort of center court and built the sign into the railing? Maybe the railing becomes the stair
I don't know
sign.
exactly what you're
Sorry,
speaking about.
Yep. Could you, yes, thank you, Hervé.
That's the application here, right?
No, there's a
Oh,
site
for
plan
Sharkey.
for Sharkey's had a site
Oh,
plan
okay.
that showed more of the
Shows the
site.
whole,
Yeah, oh, sorry, apologies.
Is it in the?
It's in the,
John, while we're waiting, are there two different addresses for the two
I'm
fronts?
catching on.
where was this
Yeah,
last one?
346 and
it
350.
was.
The exterior, look at the exterior signage one. Oh,
That's fine. It's
maybe-
bulk,
maybe
the bulk
we
will be there.
Every one of the retailers has a different street address. And I'm trying to remember all the
That's-
different
that's-
numbers, but
that's-
there's a bunch of different numbers. And the apartments typically have two addresses with a unit number, 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, and then another, so there's like 10 different addresses that was required by the fire marshal. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah, so that, do you see
Right now
that?
it's here.
Right,
Yep.
and we were looking at that monumental stair right there. It's sort of mid-block.
Oh, I see the stairway.
And so what if it was incorporated into that monumental stair somehow?
No, well, I think it's got to be for the automobile traffic coming in and out. That's a two-way entrance there. There's another two-way which is next to Goddard before you get to Elm Street right there. But that's kind of a very specific entrance. The other drive through the center of the project is one way going towards Palmer's. And if I wanted to do the parking garage in the back, they either go in where right by the Goddard entrance, or they can go in the main entrance where we currently have the sign, go all the way to the back and go right into the back of the parking garage.
All the way in the back?
Yes.
The back, up.
Yeah, there's a
Plan
ramp
north.
going up to
Yep,
the second
yep,
floor,
yep,
that's for
yep.
the residential tenants, but the first floor is
I
all
see.
there.
Okay, so that corner really is
Right,
sort of
and
the
then
arrival.
I'm off on a tangent a little bit, but the retailers, where Sharky's is, because you mentioned it, as well as the liquor store, they love the fact that they have perpendicular parking, and then they also, people walk out of Palmer's, the first thing they see is the liquor store, the barber shop. So they have pretty good visibility as it is.
I see, okay. So that location seems
Yeah.
Necessary.
ideal.
Yeah.
I personally like, I prefer perpendicular
Yeah.
to the road versus angled. Angled seems like, I don't know, seems off.
Yeah,
If it's angled, only
But
one
perpendicular
direction
only.
Is there a way we can see,
Yeah.
you could
Right,
see
like
the
if you come
visual?
to College Street,
Well,
you'll be able to see it.
Perpendicular
Yeah,
only if we
I
have
can see
car visibility.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, looking at that.
Could you make a perspective with a perspective,
Oh, yeah,
perspective with
absolutely.
angle?
Absolutely.
And then double-sided, see what it kind
Yeah.
of feels. Yeah, we just do that.
Can
But
you-
I guess, real question is, do you like the sign?
yeah, but can we go back to the size of it though? I'm concerned about like the height of it though, the
Yeah,
overall
okay.
size. I feel like it's,
So it's 6 foot is the
feet
max
high.
for monument, right?
Right, we have it proposed 4 feet in a 2-foot base.
Right.
so that's 6 feet total.
6 is the absolute max.
Yeah.
So that's the size
So
of a
close-
giant man in the
So
front of
close
the
to the
building.
So close to the road and so close to the building.
On top of 2 feet. It's 4 feet on top of 2
Are
feet.
you 6 feet?
Yeah.
You guys gotta realize how big that, I mean, that's Kevin's size, standing in front of the building.
The problem is
me.
the maximum is 20 square feet.
So that's a very tall
Yeah, no.
sign, very close to the building.
You
I
can't
think
read
it's
that.
just not gonna,
Scale's wrong.
its scale is wrong. Or it can't be that solid, right? If it's gonna be that high, maybe it's made of components that have a little bit more transparency, but that is big.
Could you put,
Maybe we could do something with the base, because the reason we went 4 feet is to get all these tenants in here,
Yeah.
Right.
visible. I mean, 4 feet is like this, right?
Could you put Heights Crossing on the,
Base.
in letters on the
That's not
base
4
and
feet.
remove that section? At least that would take off what, at least a foot?
Maybe we
And
could-
then also
maybe-
shrink the base some
Or
more?
maybe we could maybe opt out of the base of the stone and do another,
There's something about 2 feet?
yeah.
Yeah, legs, yeah. Can it be on like,
So,
Brunswick
You
School
want to do some,
signage.
Hold up,
Okay.
Anya.
guys, the regulation is 20 square feet max for monument signs.
20 square feet.
So if you had a 6 foot, you'd be like pretty narrow. So 20 square feet is what we have in detached sign,
Be just
monument
over 3
sign. So
feet.
so if it brings down, he's going to also have to bring it
narrow?
6, oh, the sign itself.
like
is
the
what
sign
we're-
at
Well, they account for
Dr.
this,
Hamilton's. That's like 20
face as well.
The one on corner of Sedgwick and the Post Road,
Oh, yeah,
You're-
that's,
that's 20 square
9
feet.
Kings
So that's a
Highways.
lot smaller than this.
that's like
Pretty
a,
much
yeah,
the same.
fifth of the size.
I know. So that's because they have a lot of tenants.
Yeah. So we'll probably have to make an exception for
Yeah.
size for you guys, because the 20 square feet doesn't give you the
Yeah, there's no room.
real estate you need.
What's that?
We gotta bring it down though.
How big's the font for each one of these?
I think it's on the paperwork. Did you, let's see. I wish I had my easel.
I know, sorry.
None of it's illuminated
We're all
or
thrown off here.
Just the letters, the Heights Crossings.
Heights letter? I mean, I would vote for trying to take Heights Crossing and put it on the base, of the sign, and make it illuminated, and then
like letters on top of the stone.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
They're kind of like Heights Crossing, because we're trying to brand it, because we have Darien College.
That could be eliminated,
handle
and the
things, that
tenants
means
not,
they're-
just do that
Way
as a
bigger.
floodlight.
So we'd like to keep the lettering on top.
Okay.
A third
I
of
would
it,
reduce
so
the
like
base.
3 inches or something.
We could reduce the base. The letters are 3 inches high.
Right.
It's 7-inch nameplates.
8.
So,
You could also reduce the spacing
Oh.
between the signs, right? That's a lot of spacing.
Yeah, it looks nice, but.
so if we reduce the base,
Just reduce the base.
So here, 18, yeah, still got to be able to read the bottom row, but, take 6 inches off the
that'll
base.
be down.
That's, so it has it at 5.5. So it's still a man, just a smaller man.
Yeah,
Still pretty big.
Can't get it.
yeah, but how
Still tall.
how low do you go?
If you
I mean,
could mock it
I'd be
up
concerned
in a-
about the lower row of tenants being lost in,
Right.
like, with any sort of plantings or whatever.
I think you just have to keep it clear in front,
Yeah.
that's all.
Kevin, can we do some
This
mock-ups,
is
just
10 by
like thrown together quickly,
4.
just with some scale, and just to kind of understand
Like, as far as
the
getting rid of the base.
base, how it looks, how it'll look
Yeah, like I
with the
said,
sidewalk.
And relative to the
hard because
elevation
no
of the
sidewalk.
building too, like make sure you
Let's get
have.
stakes. Can you drive stakes?
We can also do a tour, like
Just-
drive by if you want to.
That's all.
Is it, the max is 9 tenants? Is that what it is?
I think it's going to be somewhere between 9 and 10, yes.
Because right now you've only got room for 9.
Yeah, I think
Right.
9 is probably it. I'm just thinking here. I'm looking at, what are you looking at?
The other
The
thing,
number of tenants.
the,
Got 9 in there.
Right.
is,
3,
Is that how many it can accommodate?
6.
I mean, how many?
So if I propose a smaller base,
Yeah,
same sign, smaller base?
yeah, 9's
Yeah,
max.
but that-
9 is max.
your
Yeah, I
sign's
mean, I'd
12
like to
foot,
see it
10 foot wide.
relative to the building elevation and its location on
It's
the
too big.
sidewalk.
Yeah,
Because
that's-
it's big, it's a,
I mean,
I
it's
it's
a
still
bigger
think
big,
a
than
4 by 10
solid thing.
sign.
Panel over there.
You mean, but you're talking physical
Yeah,
mock-up
pretty
or
much
like
it.
renderings?
That's-
I mean,
The size, right?
Those 3
Right.
panels right there, when it's 2 feet.
rendering, like elevation, I mean, not a rendering, an
That'd be
elevation
3.5
drawing
feet.
to scale
That's what it is, 3
that
panels
shows
wide. That's too
the
big.
building and the monument
I
sign.
agree.
Sean, you have a good point. How big do we think this sign is?
That probably is 6 by 6 or 6.5 by 6,
That white sign?
Yeah.
Well, stand up.
maybe
It's
8.
a little more than 6.
Sorry, I know.
You're 5'6".
Thanks.
Yeah. What are you,
Yeah, I mean-
5'4"?
Don't listen.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
36.
So that's the size of it, but it'll be longer.
longer.
They're much longer, like 2 feet longer.
Really big.
Yeah.
That's big.
What do you want to
Too
look at?
big.
This is 3 feet.
It's big next
too
to a
big.
building, it's gonna look
What's too big?
giant.
It's too big.
Yeah.
It needs,
Agreed. I think 20 square feet is there for a reason. I mean,
yes.
Yeah,
Yes, the frames can get smaller, everything can get
yeah, you
looks
could
like the
make it more
middle-
compact.
Rails are wider.
Yeah, 6 by 6. Well, 6 by a little 5.5.
and even that would be
Yeah.
Huge.
a big sign.
Absolutely huge. That's just like,
Duh.
that goes against the Empire State Building, man.
I mean, that's like 40 square feet for that.
Yeah, but you can't, you're not thinking that size, right? Only because
No, that-
the nameplates would be so small.
Can I?
You won't be able to see the tenants.
I understand, I understand that what we're trying to do, I guess the question in my mind, and you're not gonna, you guys are not gonna like this, but we haven't allowed other larger developments in this town to put every tenant on a sign. Like, right, like the new, whatever, word.
Darien Crossing.
Seymour's is, or
Darien
whatever, Darien Crossings, they don't have a tenant on each side.
Commons.
Commons, they don't have a tenant on each side.
Yeah, and we also nix their
David,
illuminated sign.
David Genovese doesn't have a tenant going, a monument sign with a tenant going on each side.
I don't think they
Much-
could have.
Much bigger complexes.
Right, that doesn't
But
compare.
They're
they're,
double to,
but even 9 tenants, like Heights Crossings,
Well-
like with a placard on each, like, I don't know. I guess my
Well-
point is this, I don't know how you can make it a lot different than what he currently is proposing. And to me, like, maybe it just has to be just Heights
Well,
Crossings.
Right.
Compared to, I'm sorry, it's like no comparison, right? There's Genovese and Darien Commons to this? There's no comparison.
There's no comparison, but 9 tenants to have an individual sign underneath it. I
Well,
don't know.
I would argue
I think
the
you're setting a
comparison
standard
is
that
that-
I don't know if you want to set.
I would argue that the comparison is the interior tenants that we, didn't allow Granola Bar to have a sign right on Post Road, and they're tucked in a place that isn't visible. I do wonder if we want to make it more neighborhood oriented, but still make sure that the tenants have signs and are clearly visible, and maybe there is a way to do a corner blade sign, so people are driving and they'll see what's tucked in behind, and give it a little bit more of that Darien, New England vibe, as opposed to, this sign is, to me, is like very corporate. Like, I might drive by this thing being like, oh, it's a dentist's office. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I wouldn't read any of these.
I just,
Like,
the more I think about it, I'm just not
so
thinking that.
I think while this is like I love the style, the color, like that's actually really like my vibe. I do wonder if in this application we can be a little bit more creative and understanding to the tenants and make sure that like everybody's winning, but kind of make it aesthetically a little bit more New England. And if we can't, then this is, we'll figure out the sizing. But if we can somehow push the signage to be a little bit more Darien, is what I'm trying to say. That would be, I think, a positive for the development and for the tenants. Right?
So the change, just alter the design to be a little more, I don't want to say country, but Darien.
I think the translation is getting rid of all the tenant signs and just 2 Heights Crossing. Accent the fact that it's a building, Heights Crossing on the thing, and then if tenants want signage, then they can come to us like the other places and say, here are the rules. We did a signage book for Federal. You get a blade sign, you get a wall sign, here are the specs.
Yeah, I'm just,
It's a bit of a pain, but.
thinking through that. They all, in their leases, they all want to be on the monument side if there's a monument sign. So
But that's not our standard for the
There's
town.
one regulation variation that I need to bring up, is that what's allowed without any size restriction is the directory sign in the code, where you have no maximum sign area. It's approval of design by ARB to serve intended purpose.
Okay, so we're not,
Wide open.
So we're not
don't
writing
call
any
it a monument sign, call it a directory sign. And it says that it's 1 per property in the office district. This is maybe whatever district it is, but no letter should be higher than 4 inches. So you get like if you start from that and you see how you maybe this example on the code stacks all the
That
names
includes the Heights
vertically.
Crossing though. Heights Crossing would only be 4 inches on that sign. So you lose the fact that it's the feature of Heights Crossing. You know what's a good example is we just did this at the corner of Norton Avenue and Hecker. Where you go to the police station, they put up a new directory sign. It's a white one on the corner there. As you turn, you're going down to get on 95 North. There's a white wood.
Yep.
Remember the sign that we talked about?
Yeah.
That's a great
Sticking
directory
around.
sign. They put it's staked in the ground. It's kind of it's like half that size, but it just has the address in 4-inch letters and then the sub. It's a kind of across from Piedmont Club.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's what that directory sign is.
Yep.
Okay.
So would the
It's kinda like what
directory
we-
sign
sorry.
not say Heights Cross? Would there just be a directory sign like?
It would say Heights Crossing, only can be 4
But it
inches.
would only
though.
be 4 inches.
Would they
And then
lose their
3 inches
feature
for
name?
for the directory.
I just feel like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I really feel like we should be treating this a lot like these other developments. This is a development, and it should be Heights Crossing, and they should get a blade sign, and they should get a placard on their building and call it quits. Like, you're setting a standard up for something that
I do like the blade sign though idea. It
Yeah.
makes it more of a quaint,
More
intimate New
more
England feel that you're
neighborhoody.
talking
And that's
about.
what we've,
How would the people find the, so
Google?
this is obviously just to Google it, right?
Yeah, well,
This
some
is
people's
obviously
Heights sign,
Everybody
like
find anything.
Direct
Granola
to
Bar
height.
had like
Yeah.
Granola Bar with an arrow going, that was a proposal. If people had trouble, we gave them the amendment where they could put on Post Road, Granola Bar, arrow pointing.
Kevin,
through
how is that any
Is
different?
that
way.
Citibank that has a directory on their front yard too, that runs
They have a
horizontal?
directory.
And there's no difference
They
in
have a
Heights Crossing?
rectangle, Citibank has a similar sign on their front yard on Heights Road. As you come out of Equinox, you take that left towards Chase Bank.
Oh.
They have theirs right there in the grass. It's
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Well, the
But
other-
it's set inside the landscaping. It's not like right up against the building.
that's nice.
But Kevin,
There's a
like if you look
relief-
at,
There's
So it's
a
been-
relief of that sign adjacent to the building. You don't have the space for that relief.
Isn't
You have
there one of
this
those by
giant
the-
thing
by the,
right next to the building.
and also I feel like like.
So, but my point was, it's been done, so it's been allowed.
But it,
I can't remember that one, sorry.
that was
How many come out?
recent.
All right, just out of the blue, how about just hypothetically here,
Yep.
a pole sign that has blades, just like when you see, Venice, Rome, Paris, like different direction with the different tenants on it, just at the top,
Oh.
at that corner. So it's
I'd
like,
say
the bottom
like a
part is,
vertical.
you see through the tenants, but at the top you have the different names and they're represented at that corner.
A pylon sign, like a
Yeah.
pylon sign.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But each tenant, I guess you just went through Sharky's or whatever recently, so each tenant's gonna still have a name over their door.
Yeah.
And on Heights, we
Giant.
know in the building, when you first walk in, first drive into Palmer's, there's 3 tenants right there. So they're gonna have their 3 names there. And then Goddard definitely is gonna have something on Heights, and they gotta come here for approval for that. I know they're gonna want to have some, because we're across from the train station, they're gonna want to have.
We already approved that. We already approved
Right.
that.
Have they already been in? Maybe
Yeah.
they have.
Yeah, we approved
All
that.
right,
Yep.
so we kind of need to go back and think about it a little bit. First of all, I think you need to figure out how that scale fits into how close to the building, because you guys, and is it blocking windows? Should it be smaller? Should it be on an angle? Should it be perpendicular? We should look at a couple different ways.
Well,
And
also,
then maybe we even look at it, I have to internalize it a little bit. Maybe we actually take the names off, because if they have enough signage around the building, then it's only a matter of pointing them in the right direction for certain types of, when they're coming in that courtyard, you're not gonna get lost, actually. It's not that big a courtyard. It's a nice, quaint courtyard, but still not gonna get lost. You can
And
see.
is that the time, and I go back to Alex's point, because I think, like you said, like Goddard, like you're not gonna get, like those tenants, 1A, 1B, 2E, 2D, they've got, most of them have visible presence, right? The ones that don't are, like you said, feasibly on the interior of the courtyard.
Yeah.
Like, is that the ones where you say, more than likely, they're gonna come through from there, right, exactly, like maybe you put cornered placards, like,
Yep.
where you know that if you're driving in, that they're behind, right, like, but I feel like the audience that you're catering to also is people mostly likely in Darien, they're gonna find their way pretty darn
I
fast.
think they will too.
So, make it a special place and make your name of your
Yeah, a
establishment a
directory
bigger
sign,
thing.
to me, seems corporate park.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Not-
this
not
is
neighborhood, not
retail,
retail
yeah,
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Exactly.
Good.
Not mixed use.
So, let's just look at it a couple different ways.
well, and also, if you guys talk about coming back, it looks like we're talking about coming back with like a larger site signage plan.
Yeah.
And that was part of the discussion earlier too, we were looking at Sharky's, how are you going to consistently mark the addressing on each door? Because that should be consistent too, like how that's written, everyone has the same approach,
I'm
right?
just thinking, where we did some other buildings, the fire marshal wants the address on, somewhere on the door. Either it's on the door, it's
Yeah.
above the door, but they have a real requirement.
Yeah, so, but yeah,
And
it'd be
they're
nice
the
if
ones
that's
that actually
consistent.
came up with a whole plan of how we should put the addresses on, so. And they wanted it that way because in the event of a fire, they can identify exactly where it is, so.
So a quick question then. If you go back to the monument type in the corner, perpendicular or parallel, what if you take all the names of the tenants off, put Heights Crossing in, shrink the sign way down?
That's what we're saying.
And underneath Heights Crossing, you start with the lowest number dash the highest number.
Yeah,
Because nobody goes anywhere without a GPS.
yeah, 320 to 350 or whatever it
Yeah,
would be.
and then you know what it
Try
is.
that, you can try that.
Like,
Because
so
then
the
you-
address.
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 Then you never have, then you can make it a permanent sign, never have to change the sign, the line, squares out.
Yeah,
And it becomes a much more smaller, quaint monument, maybe on the corner.
I just know that there's some, people a lot of the tenants want a monument sign, but,
Give them a blade sign. Make it happen.
What was it called?
It just doesn't seem appropriate.
Your own Heights Shopping Center is what it used to be called. And I think there was some signage there, but I never looked at that sign.
It was, no, it
It
just
was
had the
ugly as
3
hell.
words on it, Stagnant Road and Heights Shopping.
Yeah.
The 3 words.
Yeah, it was bad.
Even the stores don't look like you're
It was
going to
50
get
years old.
lost.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get
You
lost.
go Heights, and then you take a left, and you can see. So-
There's something, a neat idea though, to like what Hervé says about having inside the site in that courtyard, some sort of directional sign to create the intimacy, the pedestrian intimacy once you're, because if you drive in and you park in the parking lot, you could still go there and then kind of
Walk
be
on.
directed once you're within the site. And when you're within the site, then you have more,
Pretty easy.
yeah, then you have more freedoms too.
Yeah. Let's just go back and we'll.
Like a 20-foot sign.
And we'll play with the height too.
It could be a screen with all the names going here, no, I'm kidding.
Okay. So you want me to draw it? Is it worth drawing? Do you want me to just show you?
I think part of your new plan, you might, I feel like this is like, I feel like the board's supportive of the materials and idea here, but it's Heights Crossing
too
on the
big.
bricks, right? Yeah, but you're shrinking it down to like a normal, like, it's like 4 feet wide, right?
Get rid of the tenants, right? That's your-
Yeah.
But to make it smaller, you're gonna have to.
And we can.
Yeah.
Right, so tenants are gone.
And I would stake it and make sure that 6 feet wide is the right distance there. When you put the 6 feet and you turn it perpendicular to the road, you should see what kind of space you have there. Do you want to stake that so we can check it out? Because that might be wider
You
than,
could probably.
4 feet might be nice, and you can turn it perpendicular to Heights.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then put it on both sides and put the address numbers on
Some
both
nice
sides.
lighting up.
Yep.
That might be a really, because then you can see it going both ways on Heights.
You think, what's the maximum size we can go?
20 square feet.
Not that big.
4 feet.
stake it.
20 years
I propose
Stick it,
it.
yeah.
Stake it.
Internally
Look at
illuminated.
relative to the elevation of the
yeah.
building.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks
look at
pretty.
the
This Heights
site plan.
Crossing. That's not the font, by the way, I don't know how that.
Double sided or
Get
terminal?
sued if you hit a pedestrian, you know.
You know what Alex just said, though, relative to, it's relative to the building. Like, you did a good one back on Old Kings Highway there. That one spoke to the building size and distance from the road. You guys did a nice job there.
What was there before was really rough. But this will be okay. I mean, there's only one tenant space. That's a bit of a challenge, which is way, if you want to pull up the screen, way in the back corner.
Here, wait, you can go back to that one, the larger
We're
site.
waiting for planning and zoning to say that we can put a French bakery there.
2B.
Which one?
2B.
I think the
The
smell
yellow-
alone
the
will
yellow
drive
one,
people.
yeah.
I think they'll just follow it.
Yeah, the smell will attract.
Yes.
We're
Follow
still
your
waiting for
nose.
planning and zoning to tell us it's okay to put
I
a
know, I
French
saw the
bakery there.
email. I've been trying to influence. I said, today, every day I say croissant, croissant.
But then to your point, if that's the case, you could put one, well, you make the exception for one blade sign. If there's an issue and it says, if it's an arrow.
And you're probably going to walk in there, or you're going to park in the parking garage.
Yeah.
So, once it gets known, it's going to be like, I'm going to say this wrong, water, salt, flour, water, salt.
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
it is.
The one in,
It's-
Yeah.
And everybody knows that.
Yeah, yep.
so do you think we'll be able to put, for future tenants, I'm working with another tenant, they want, can I propose a blade sign for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Sharky's is gonna want a blade sign now too, that we
Yeah.
should
Yeah,
mention
I
that.
mean, I think with the door on the side, anyhow, to me, it
Should
makes
be.
sense
It
to
makes
have
sense.
a
Blade
at the
sign.
door.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
add that.
Because the
Absolutely.
entrances are inside,
Yeah.
there's no entrance
Yeah.
on the Heights
John,
Road,
you
right?
mentioned that to Ashley Andrews,
Yeah,
to
that's, in
Sharky's.
some ways, it's like directional.
About blades, I'm gonna write that to Ashley, but maybe worth mentioning to them. About adding that to their, and that could be administrative approval, that's like within our guidelines, of
numbers
just that
on the
logo. And, yeah, the numbers, that's a good point. If you have, the fire marshal, if you have an outline of how you're going to put all the addresses on the building, like how that's gonna go, that would be,
Yeah. we can
That's
get-
something
we
we'd
can-
like to see.
We can get that to you. It's, at first, it's a little overwhelming, it's a little complicated. There's just a lot of addresses.
but we don't wanna see it on the actual signs, that on
We
these
want them on
actual.
the doors.
On the
On
doors,
doors.
yeah, on the
Just-
doors.
Just give you a list, and then you would have, you know, well.
But they're gonna be on the doors, is the point, not, because not on the signs
Yeah,
everywhere.
what I'd like to do is just have a decal on the door. It would be-
Yeah.
That makes it
Yes.
easier.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And everyone have the same decal.
Yes.
Yes.
We're in
Yes.
agreement.
Yes.
And it, you know, it's probably something about like this size.
Perfect.
We agree.
One specific color, all the doors will be the same
You're
color.
gonna be
Yeah.
doing that, baby.
Amazing.
Great.
Okay. You have good enough clarity?
Pretty much.
Good work. Yeah.
Back to
We'll
the
be
drawing
talking.
board.
It's gonna be good.
All right, great, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thanks, guys. Our fourth agenda item for the evening is ARB number 13, 2025. This is for the Darien Arts Center Dance Annex at 537 Boston Post Road. Hi guys. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. This will be quick.
I know.
So Herbert, you can bring up the...
Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'm Dan Kunitz, and I'm with the Darien Arts Center, so I'm a volunteer on the board.
Great.
And I'm Claire Moffa, I'm the dance director of Darien Arts Center.
So
This is probably your shortest commute, and you just have to walk 3 feet over to the room?
yeah, pretty much, yes,
Okay,
right.
it's great.
Okay, so we just renovated the place. Now we're renting it. We're going to start dancing inside, and now we're focusing on the sign on the outside. So we're going to put this on the facade. I have a picture how it would look on the outside of the building, but essentially the sign would be about 10 by 2 feet, actually 10 by 2.2 feet. And the building itself is 36 linear feet across, and so I know we have to stay at 2/3 of that. And so that sign would be less than, that sign 10 by 2.2 would be 22 square feet, so it's less than 2/3 of the 24 square feet that we're allowed. All right, so that would be across the top. And then now on the decals on the windows are 8 by 7, so that's 56 square feet, and these are decals. Now the decals themselves will be white, and they would fit inside a, let's call it 2 by 3 square foot area.
So
2 by 3.
they're
It'll be white. It'll be white.
opposite.
And what we're seeing here.
The black is like the window.
The black is the window, right? So
Right.
the dancer is in black.
The dancer, the annex and studio are all like white decals.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
gotcha.
So I
Yes,
just-
understood.
Is there a rendering of the facade with the wall sign on it? Because I think,
Yeah, like that.
yeah, so it's hanging down.
Right, so the facade itself is about 16 inches, so it hangs down a little bit, but I'm still 8 foot above the ground.
We made sure of that.
I'm sure he did.
And then there's the picture, there's what we're trying to show with the, I mean, it's Photoshop, but anyway, you get the idea.
Those
It's
are
white.
very large flowers.
I spend all my time on the decals and you look at the flowers.
They're
Flowers are Photoshopped.
large, giant.
Violets.
I can't win. No, the flowers, obviously, there's no flowers there.
No, we appreciate that. We love
Anyway, thank you for the flower. Anyway, you can see how the annex and the dancer would be white. It's, I mean, it's supposed, it's not there's a little black out, it's not supposed to be black, it's white. And then you can see against the green painting, it would really stand out. So we're going to call it the annex, as opposed to the Weatherstone where we have our main dance area. It'll be, the dancer would be the logo. And that's it.
What's the sign made out of? Is that like a PVC material or is it?
Well, frankly, I've asked the sign person what would be best. It would be wood, PVC, whatever is good. We weren't focused on the material, just whatever is best, unless you have a recommendation.
PVC lasts longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
No lighting of the sign?
there's no
like
lighting.
little
No, we didn't think
gooseneck or
lighting was
something?
necessary.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for, I know this was a lot of work. I just want to state that because we've been working together and I know that putting this in Photoshop was not the easiest thing to do, but you did a great job.
Well, thank you. Well, it was your guidance that helps.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. That'll be, yep, you'll get a favorable report. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, that is our last application for the evening. Now on to other business. Hervé, can you give a quick summary of the administrative approvals that have been issued since our February
Forgot what they
meeting?
were, so. Oh, yes, so Wander Restaurant, which is not a restaurant, actually, it's a food pickup, got their approval. They had some minor modification of size of sign. Spring Pilates, Kevin, who was here earlier, just narrowed down to the one scheme, the one type color and all of that. Stretch Zone reduced the size of their letters and was all good to go. And the Goddard School canopy, which is highlighted, I think I'd like to mention that one in a little bit longer because it came a bit as a surprise to me through a building permit addendum. They didn't have that on the original approved site plan, and we were shown that canopy in renderings of the bollards, but we didn't get a chance to talk about it. So I'm hoping I'm going to find quickly.
So translation there, the Goddard School put up a canopy as part of their drawings. We were looking at the bollards and they said, well, it was in the drawings the last 3 months.
Oh.
And so we said back to them, just because it's in the drawing without you guys calling attention to it doesn't mean it's
I wish my,
we were only looking at those drawings for bollard landscape approval, so
this is the one.
that's the background there.
The approval certificate. That's what I want to show. So, so I created this certificate they did show us this in the bollards rendering, this view here, and this is the portion we're talking about. They added this covered canopy with the same architectural language as the rest of the building, not taking too many risks in terms of architecture design. And when I saw this drawing added as a building permit, I said, I kind of alerted Liz so we could take a look at it, if we could approve it, because they're actually building it right now, and it's kind of an emergency to kind of get it done. So that was submitted. All the materials are the same materials as the building. They're just, it's pretty simple.
It's on the back side.
Yeah,
It's on the back side. They needed it.
I mean, it
Actually,
looks bad.
if anything, we brought that up when you guys looked at the park. There was like some questions about, don't you need a canopy? And they're like, and then now like they have a canopy. Sorry, the technical sound here, but anyway, so that went and that allowed them to file for the addendum for the building permit is now in process and it's continuing. So.
But it was a good catch of Hervé. He sees these details in all these applications. He saw this additional, I thought it was great. He caught that. And also, I appreciate Hervé doing administrative approval to keep this stuff moving,
Yeah.
so we're not adding additional applications here.
Yes.
So, big win all around. Thanks, Hervé.
Thank you.
Definitely.
That was great.
Appreciate the support.
But the signage was kind of included with that?
There was no signage at all on the canopy.
Okay, but the signage off of Heights Road.
I don't think we've seen Goddard's on Chapel unless,
We did.
oh, was I, is that a meeting that I missed? Is that?
So you didn't see Goddard, but the signage on the front, they didn't recall this in the back at all. This was just when Ashley came, she just showed us the Goddard School thing that was on the front of the building.
Oh,
this was in the Bollards application, which is why it was never on the agenda.
Yeah.
It was just like, so this is not it. And this is not, I'm trying to find Mr. Ron Main here, so hold on.
What are you trying to find?
The kitchen showroom.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, moving on to our next item for discussion is 893 Boston Post Road, to have a informal discussion about high-end cabinetry showroom.
Why is he not highlighted here? Of course, that's just going to be a problem.
Do you want me to help you pull that up, Hervé, quickly?
Hold on a second. He's not in the...
Go up to search.
I thought I've done a link. Do you have a...
No, go up to search. I think
do you have a PL number for me?
No, go up to search and just put address in.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, location 893 Boston Post Road.
893.
Let's see if that alone pops it up. Wait, stop right there. Let's see if that even...
What?
Yep,
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Architectural Review Board application. There we go.
I'm sorry, this mouse is...
That's okay. That's great. Okay, beautiful.
It's not...
I do have a thumb drive, Hervé, if you need it.
Oh, did you color anything between now and us talking, or no?
Hey, so...
If it's in there...
So,
If it's in there...
it should be.
Okay, no, but if you don't have anything different, then I'd rather use this
Yeah,
than a thumb drive.
I believe it
Okay.
should be all there. So I'm Ron Main, looking into leasing, and we're just about there for the Coldwell Bankers site at 893. So we're considering taking down the awning. And so we're preparing. I've got a fabulous designer working with us, so.
Next
we
to
had some-
Kumon there, right?
What's
You're
that?
next to Kumon there, downtown, right by Darien train station?
It's right near the train
Yeah.
station, yes. Got the big blue, ugly
Awnings.
awning there.
Yeah, it needed major
We'd like
power
to take that out, bring in some light. I'm a design build company, and there's some pictures there.
Yep, right.
And so with the next meeting in April, we could probably talk more about other stuff, but we did come up with a blade sign. I understand the 8 feet is minimum height, possibly.
Yep, clearance.
To the bottom.
Yeah.
Some of the signs are just a little bit lower, but that's okay. But we could cut that sign down so it's not 24 inches deep. We could bring it on the opposite side of the building, Hervé, on the left side, where we have a little bit more height to where we're going to mount it, rather than the right side. So we were considering doing it there, but it doesn't look like we have height there, I believe.
That awning will be gone as part of this discussion?
We'd like to, yes.
Okay. Yeah, great.
Yeah, the problem is this is not very high.
Yes.
The clearance to this, and that's kind of a built element, so you may be able to do something at the corner, as
Yeah.
long as you're not in the flow of people. The 7'6" or something, we can see what could be.
Hervé, what's the bottom of the awning? It looks like it's at the top of the door, no? Or is that just,
That's.
or is it below the top of, I mean, the
Yes,
door?
you're right, see, here's the door here, and here's the bottom of
So
the awning,
there's-
which is
there's-
a little lower.
There's space above the door.
Like a
Well, he's putting the, where did it go?
A blade sign.
That's gonna be above
Yes.
the.
Oh, that's where that's going.
band,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I got it, okay.
But the problem is the 2 foot of this makes it, I think that what the reality is that this is about 9 foot above the ground.
Yes.
So by the time you do
Side, yeah.
anything, you just
Yeah,
drop.
yeah.
Right.
So we may consider keeping it 12 inches, but the other signs are 24. We just wanted to keep the flow of the other storefronts.
So he's mounting it above the fascia.
So I'm trying to find the other drawing. Where did it go?
Yeah, there were 2 drawings.
Right, sign elevation?
Yes.
There we go. Okay, so that's
Ah.
better.
So what is that? Oh, 18 inches, okay.
Does anyone, I know this gonna sound weird, but with this building in particular, can you go back to the the photo?
Hold on, this guy, yeah.
Yeah. Would anyone ever hang it from that
Underside of the soffit.
Yeah, rather than having a bar come out.
It just seems it's so far back that I mean, I used to do that for work a lot. You'd hang it there, right?
We all know I like that detail. Always trying to hang something, so.
It just,
Yeah.
it seems like it should be proud of the.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think it would look better than, because you'd actually see the sign. If not, it's gonna be so far in that you're never gonna see it.
So have the
Yeah.
sign like a parallel blade type sign or hanging sign from the
Hang
end.
it on rings or just a bar mounted right there.
Right.
Yep.
But not on top of that
Not on
fascia
top of
board,
it.
because that's
No.
like,
Not on
that's part
top
of
of
the
it.
design of this thing, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's just a thought, but I think it would look a lot better. A lot cleaner.
Okay. We would like to light it with an LED light above it, if that's possible.
The blade sign?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I
No,
think we've
not the blade,
allowed-
not the
Not
blade
the
sign, it would have to
blade.
be the wall sign.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
The
What's
wall
that?
sign, you have that soffit to use.
We've not allowed blade signs to be lit in town.
Oh.
We do allow wall signs.
Wall signs,
Yeah.
okay.
And if there's a certain lumen.
Yeah, we have like lumen Kelvin considerations on there too. So just light, gentle glow.
So this one.
But maybe you can put the lights in the soffit
Yep.
Yep.
and the overhang. That might look really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you doing any window clings, or is this it? There's no other signage, correct? Late sign? Wall sign?
Not in our scope at this time.
Are you thinking about lighting anything in the windows?
I haven't gone that far.
Okay.
This just happened in the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
Very quick.
Okay.
We are gonna overhaul the whole interior, all new wood floors, new ceilings, beautiful kitchen cabinets. We'll be selling butcher blocks. We've got a 12,000 square foot custom kitchen shop, so we'll be building some unique stuff to sell, showcase.
Where's your shop?
And design.
Out of curiosity, just curious where your shop is.
It's in Milford, Connecticut at this time. We have a 12,000 square foot shop.
Great.
I'm a local builder. I'm doing about 6 jobs right now, with big additions to about 3 kitchens right now, so.
Ron did my house in Norwalk in 2005.
Yeah, there we go.
Good references. If you need them, I can.
You should have led with that, Herb, I think.
I didn't want to influence. Yeah, he did a great job. I did stress out to Ron that the name, that whatever is on the sign needs to be the official business name. So
Yeah.
right now it says the Design Plus Build Show House.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it says, right? So that becomes your license number on the door, blah, 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 as per the state design bill. If it's something different, then the sign changes to whatever is your
Yeah,
business
we're gonna
name.
register it that way as, what did I write down? Doing business as part of my main construction. But main construction won't be on there. It will be that.
It'll be that one, okay. Yeah, because we try not to have, I mean,
Yep.
you could take the, the word designing becomes a service, the design plus built, it's like, are you describing a service? But if it's the name.
It's fun, yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be going that way. Yep.
Great.
So any other questions for us, Ron, while you're here?
No, I guess we'll be in touch. My designer be in touch. Possibly she would call you, Hervé. Yeah. And we'll get ready for the next meeting next month.
Okay.
We'll have a lot more by then.
Awesome. Materials too for the signs?
Yep.
Okay, great.
The font size and all the designs and all that.
Fantastic.
And colors and all.
Great.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Step back to Hervé, do you? That's
For me,
Hervé's.
that's for me.
Thank you, sir. That's good. I appreciate that, Ron. All right.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah, thank you.
Final agenda item for the night is the commercial design guidelines review. I added this because every 10 years, the planning and zoning department brings in a consultant to take a look at our design guidelines and update them to make sure they're relevant to the town's needs, the changing needs, blah, blah, blah. So I put this on here. I want you guys to take a look. This is our chance. If there are things that, precedents we're setting, trends we're setting, that we're seeing again and again and asking for, this is the time to kind of put those in writing and recommend those to the consultant. So there's a few pages in here that are, we're not going to look at this now at this meeting, but this is a homework assignment.
Do I have to do it?
Are we meeting?
That'd be great.
Are we gonna get to meet with the design consultant?
They came, last time they came and met with the architectural review board.
Okay.
But by the time they came, they kind of already had their agenda in place.
Can we ask?
So I would like to be proactive
Yeah,
and
yeah.
kind of put together something that we can provide to Hervé, then to Jeremy to say, here's some things to just consider when looking at this.
But it would be good to have like a workshop with them.
That would be lovely. We can put in that request. I don't know how that works. But yeah, I'll put in that request. That'd be great. Last time I was new to the board. Do you guys remember?
Mm-hmm.
I think he just showed up and was like, here's the deal.
Well, Leslie had a lot of input too, I remember.
Leslie did with the
Yeah,
tree.
on the landscaping.
Yeah. Do they do all the imagery that's in here? Because one thing I was noticing, like some of the images of canopies are quite outdated.
Yeah, like we
buildings
could-
that don't exist anymore.
It would be worth, Greer could help us with that. Greer would be fantastic, but if there's stuff you see or examples, we should get that organized. You guys could send me a screenshot or send me a reference, use this building for Yeah.
I just
I think
find
if
it
you-
a lot more, when you can do it collaboratively,
Yeah.
you get the message across. If we served up a whole bunch of comments,
Yeah.
there's no sort of backstory to it, and so it's a lot easier to have that conversation with them, and they understand why.
Okay.
I don't know.
Who would we be talking to, Hervé, in planning and zoning to request an audience with the consultant and
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
I
Okay.
think so. I think
Okay.
that would be the best.
Okay, so I could come out of this
Because
meeting.
he's
and that
really
was
the point person
board.
for the comprehensive plan, yeah.
What's the timeline on this and like?
So 2026 publication, so I don't know how much, usually these guys, I worked for BFJ Planning for a little while, they're a consultant that does this type of thing in the city, and they take like 6 months or so to put together the document. I mean, it's pretty
think it took
intense.
that long the last
It's a
time,
big
too.
book, so if it's 2026, you're right, that's not a bad point, because by mid-2025, I don't know exactly when in 26, but we should be starting to hear a little more from them.
Okay.
That's a good point. So yeah, reach out to Jeremy, see when that would be.
I mean, I would imagine they sit down and talk to stakeholders within their,
Should they come with this board?
Yeah, I mean.
That was her- we have a workshop with them.
I would imagine, we are. a
Put them on the
stakeholder.
agenda at some point, and just kind of like review what they're.
Or a separate meeting.
Or a separate meeting.
Or a separate
Yeah,
meeting.
special meeting.
A special meeting. All right, well, I'll request that. I feel like when I joined the board when he first came, I feel like I was with the three of you guys, and it was just, they came in, hear the recommendations, we had some comments, and they said, okay, we'll consider them, they disappeared, and then we never,
And
that was
yeah,
it. We never heard back, and they either used them or didn't, and I don't know. I can't remember what we. There was no follow-up. I don't know if any of our recommendations, but I don't know. So I would love to be more proactive this
Yeah,
time,
I love it.
if possible.
Yeah, because they
Right.
really
Yeah.
touch upon a lot of the topics that we talk about, the landscaping, the sidewalks, and all the.
But you're right, the imagery too, like on here,
Yeah.
is, a lot of this is, there's some beautiful things, but there's some basic, I don't know, formats, like some standards we've put in play here that are repetitive throughout
Now,
town. that we
when
should, yeah.
these are put together, do they, I mean, the ARB uses their judgment on the elements that have to be incorporated. It's not like the form designs, right, where you have special rules for like a village district and stuff. 'cause
like
you know what I'm talking about?
architectural,
And that they would be using a commercial design guideline as a standard of design for
I think.
a general thing. So these commercial design guideline, what's their overall position versus the comprehensive plan? Are they something that is added, or as a, I'm
So it
just
depends on
bringing a
it
question.
depends on the city or the town.
Right.
I've seen, so for example, Nantucket,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Very, very rigorous design guidelines,
Yeah.
right? We could choose to be more rigorous.
right. I mean, that's kind of one of the options, because now you have a document that somebody's putting together that actually says to developers,
Correct.
this is what we want in the city.
Correct, you could.
It is notable looking through here that it seems like developers don't read this at all or get this at all. I
Well,
haven't seen a
that's-
single element
Maybe they should.
proposed in my
If the guys
3
at-
years on here, 4 years on here.
If the guys at Thorndale had seen commercial design guideline, maybe they wouldn't have had that first proposal,
Right.
which was quite not really the
Right.
overall
The-
character.
that's right.
They shifted very nicely, and the result is great, and great. But that's like a kind of a document that just gives a funnel.
Well, I also feel like we haven't felt like we've owned this document. So what this document
Yeah.
says doesn't really necessarily reflect our values as a board and how they've developed over the last 10 years. So that like, it would be nice to be able to say, to reference, guys, go to the guidelines. We spent a lot of time on that
Right.
before coming, and I don't think we haven't done that, because I don't know how many of you have even read this.
I think I read it once.
Yeah, I think
When I first joined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
right.
I first joined, yes, that's exactly right.
Right.
I would
Okay.
recommend that you make it stricter.
To make it what?
Stricter.
Yeah, I agree.
Says the guy taking off on vacation for the next 20 years.
I'll be here next month.
Okay.
But like, I feel like the illuminated signage comes up almost every meeting. Is
Right.
allowed, not allowed, just we can make
a great call.
rule.
It
Be in there.
says in there, internal illuminated signs are prohibited. It's like,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
written
Yeah.
in the prohibited. It's like, okay, every time. It's
Yeah.
like,
Somebody's
why
not
I
reading.
guess they don't read it either. It's pretty clear,
And
935. in the middle.
Maybe we should ask them first, have you read the design guidelines before you start any presentation? ask.
Or before you
that's
submit
a-
to
Or
the.
Before you submit,
There should
make
be
sure
a
you-
button, like a box that pops up, have you read the design guidelines before you submit this?
That's exactly what it should be.
Okay, so I will put an email into Jeremy and say the board requested to have an audience, maybe like a special meeting with the consultant at the earliest time to, and based on that, I'll maybe give you guys homework at that time. Like, now's the time to take a look at these. We're gonna have a meeting on XYZ date.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
Perfect.
great.
Maybe you should invite alumni.
Great, yeah, I would love that. Rita would be a fine pen.
Minutes?
And minutes approval, yep, fine, like the final agenda item. Ms. Lipatinsky submitted those, all in favor? All right, all opposed?
I'll have you sign them here.
Okay, so I will sign those. It is 8:30 PM, I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thanks.